Good afternoon, folks. I thought today I'd talk about the mass shooting that happened last weekend in Buffalo, New York. And I'll try to quickly unravel a few of what I see as the little nuances to this ever-growing problem we've had for years now. To start off with, firstly, I'm a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. So before you foreigners get on there and start commenting about American gun crimes in comparison to your own cultures, well, for one, there's a whole different set of populations. There's different demographics. There are a lot of asterisks that go around next to the official gun crime statistics here in America, okay? So without having the proper context or being an American, I really don't care what your opinion is. If you are from a culture that looks down your nose on American Second Amendment freedoms and rights, while you guys knife each other in alleyways, I give two shits less about your opinion. That being said, we have a problem with narcissism in this country, really severe, fueled heavily by social media, obviously. And here I am on a social media, platform talking about it, but it really is bad. And I'm working in education, and I see all the time these kids hooked on these small TikTok videos, and I despise TikTok, for instance. It's stupid. It's training our kids to have the attention span of a fucking goldfish, okay? So each one of them in their own way tries to validate their existence by seeking attention or approval from a bigger audience, or just being noticed by a big audience. The more people that see them, the more their self-esteem skyrockets, okay? So we have a competition of some of these people who are just total misfits, who have nothing good to offer the world but the murder of innocent people. It's pretty pathetic. It's just fucking awful. And you have other people who don't offer any real solutions, and I'm talking about the political elites in this country, and I'm talking about the United States of America, who can't wait for an episode like this to happen to fit their narrative, to fit their narrative, so that they can appease their base by trying to erode either American rights or push for extreme useless laws that they usually don't enforce anyway. And for instance, looking at the narrative, we're talking about the racial narrative of this thing. This guy had this big manifesto, which was pretty stupid if you really look at it. His manifesto, for instance, mentioned things about how he got radicalized during COVID, and had these long rants about, I guess, how he became a racist, a white supremacist supposedly. And he's like the radical left's wet dream, really. I mean, and he shows up in camouflage pants, and I'm a little suspicious of his manifesto. It looked like it was kind of written for him, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I've got an 18-year-old kid writing a manifesto like that. I just kind of call bullshit, a little bit. And when it comes to the radical left, they're not going to mention the black supremacists who killed all those people on a subway here just not too long ago. They kind of brushed that under the rug. Or the guy, I think, was it Minnesota, Michigan here in this last winter, one who ran over people with his vehicle before getting arrested, eating a sandwich as he was getting arrested. Now, I'm not trying to do any whataboutisms when it comes to this. Let's see what I got here. Don't know if I got a drone or a helicopter. Got a bunch of drones over me. Let's see. It's annoying. This part of eastern Oklahoma used to get a lot of different aircraft back in the day, and they've switched all with drones. So anyway, that's off the subject. Sorry about that. So they are going to push what they think fits their narrative, obviously. And this kid, they want you to believe that half the American population, really slightly more than half the American population, which is conservative leaning or conservative, that they're all just like this kid, this screwed up kid who goes on this shooting spree. And it's just absolutely insane what they are willing to say and do in the attempts to push this bullshit narrative, okay? Now, I don't want to get bogged down by all the right versus left political rhetoric and all this sort of thing. I mean, I'm not going to even mention that guy's name. I did see Legally Armed America's channel. They have a link to where you can actually see this guy's GoPro video. You know, and it's about 1 minute and 10 seconds long, and it's gruesome, it's disturbing. It is just what gun violence is. It's hideous, where he's killing innocent people. He's a turd. He should be put to death, and he's going to be in our prison system. He got his 15 minutes of fame, and that goes back to my point, whether it's the black supremacist in a subway station or a so-called white supremacist right there, whatever their motives are, I think their motives are usually not genuine. I think they will say and do whatever gets the most attention, and in order to promote themselves, they're going to push all the right buttons. They're going to offend as many people as they can, trigger as many as they can, in order to what's the word I'm looking for? Justify killing all these people. They're saying this is a cause, you know. They're claiming to have a cause above and beyond themselves, but really it's all about themselves. They're really just narcissists, really horrible narcissists, you know. And I say, quit giving them the 15 minutes of fame. Our media is complicit in this. They give them their fame, they prop them up, they see their picture in the paper. This kid was 18 years old, and that's what he's going to be remembered for? Murdering innocent people, going into a grocery store. By the way, they always pick soft targets. They always pick soft targets. They pick these gun-free zones typically, or New York State pretty much is a gun-free zone. So all those leftist sheep walking around the grocery store, not one with a concealed carry permit or pistol, that might have made a difference, you know. That's why you kind of try that shit in Texas and see how that flies. You know, there's some places, you know, you have a high probability of encountering somebody else who's going to shoot back skillfully. Regardless, there's not much people can do to prepare for that kind of thing other than to be armed, be able to protect themselves, have the right to protect themselves. But this 18-year-old kid, total dipshit, among all the other dipshits that do this kind of thing. Look at me, they're narcissism, they have no compassion for people, they have no respect for life. And I have a solution, though. I do have a solution. And first of all, need to pay attention to who the victims were and what they stood for. I think you're going to find it's a tragedy, but they should be remembered, you know, as anybody is. There's going to be some good people, but unfortunately their lives are taken. Now, getting on to one of my solutions, I think. First of all, don't hinder law-abiding citizens their right to keep and carry and protect themselves. Okay, they got to be able to do that. This gun-free zone shit, these people look for soft targets, and they're cowards. I mean, this guy is a total dipshit and a coward. He goes and he starts off shooting this woman walking down the street next to a grocery store. It doesn't take no skill, no honor doing anything like that. What a turd. Now, I love the Constitution. All the amendments, including those against cruel and unusual punishment, you know, and have due process and all that good stuff. However, I do think the punishment can fit the crime if we take these misfits across the board. I don't care who they are or for what their motive is or what they claim their motive is, whether it's racism, whether it's just lashing out the system, whatever they're doing. I don't give a shit. We need to torture their asses publicly on TV. Give them their 15 minutes of fame. Torture the shit out of them. And I mean talking about, let's make that sentence take a long time to carry out. Some might not work. I'm thinking Blood Eagle on national prime time, you know, get that little fucker, string his ass up, tear him apart right there, and let him feel that tremendous physical pain and drag it out. Break him mentally, break him physically. Torture them. Let their last moments, let them die with a whimper, not sitting there in some prison cell gloating over what they've done. I guarantee you start doing that shit, and you let other people know, those chicken shits know, that you better die when the police show up. You better fight to the death, because when we do catch you, we're going to torture the fuck out of you, and you're going to die. And we're going to live stream it, and I know a lot of people listen to this and think that's so terrible and that's so awful. I guarantee you the first time somebody watches somebody get blood eagled to death on TV for murdering innocent people, children, women, whatever they're doing, I guarantee you that shit, they'll think twice. They'll think twice before going on the little misfit rampage to get their 15 minutes of fame, which is just fucking pathetic. I'd rather lose one of those assholes to torture than to possibly endure further carnage from some asshole. You know, it's gonna happen again. We're in a free society with over 300 million people. There's over 1 million defensive proper uses of firearms every day in this country, well, every year in this country. We are always the responsible, law-abiding people vastly outnumber the creeps who unfortunately get the spotlight. So if they want that spotlight, let's give it to them in a painful death. Give them a painful, disparaging death, and don't even let them be buried. No names, no markers for them. Throw their corpse to a bunch of hogs. Let them fucking disappear. Nobody to remember them by. Matter of fact, make it illegal that they have a grave or a tombstone. Nobody can be allowed to remember them. Stricken from the records. You don't exist. Any of your social media accounts, clippings, gone. And even your footage can be erased of what you did, you know? So, yeah, that's just my quick 2 cents. I think you want to deal with these assholes, you might have to go medieval on their asses. Anyway, I know that seems extreme to some of you. Oh well. What else you gonna do, right? Anyway, signing off. See you later.